Well, I was not literally raised by wolves. I was raised in the 70s. It was a different time. My parents were hippies. Everyone around was doing drugs. There was a lot of musicians. It was a different world. People just were free. They just did what they wanted to do. Because if you think about the art and the music that came out of the 60s and the 70s, I mean, it was just like, it was some of the best music that will ever be made.
All right, guys. Father Damon here, all the way from LA. Thanks for driving in today, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it means a lot. And I know you're moving to Miami soon.
I am in September.
What prompted that move?
That's a good question. I had to stop and think about it for a second because I started a club called Alysium, which is my new club, and I had this real clear thing in mind about love and connection and sexuality kind of being combined into an event. And I really felt like I achieved what I was trying to achieve. But what happened was very interesting, which was that it attracted the community. I mean, our events would have 60, 70 girls, 80% were and they were coming to the parties to have the kind of sex they like to have in real life. Like there's no cameras there's nothing being filmed, there's no exchange of money. So it was a place where they started to come to like enjoy their own sexuality. And as word got out, that really grew. And so what ended up happening is like, I think that some of the people that were coming to the parties, when you have couples coming and let's say it's a couple in their 40s and it's a woman, a wife or whatever it might be, being in a room full of 20-year-old maybe it wasn't the most comfortable thing for them, and I was so like open arms to the community because I hadn't really had a lot of experience with the community at all. I hadn't met a lot of stars. I hadn't talked about, it's not really something that I was interested in or pursuing, but it became this thing of like these parties where they were coming to enjoy themselves and enjoy their sexuality. And I think that actually some of my members felt intimidated by the environment, and I saw that because, sex parties for me in the past, the guests were not from, it was just real people hanging out, wanting to meet, other people. And it became a little confusing. The clientele that I'm used to, like I said, they felt a little intimidated, and the tickets are really expensive and the memberships are really expensive. I thought it was kind of heaven. I thought it was paradise. Like if you have 60 girls that are all, cool and beautiful and enjoying themselves, very sexual, that environment, I thought would, like a man would love that environment. But we also had some stars there, and like the males. And I think it was an intimidating environment for people, and so, as I started to kind of build this membership in LA, I just started to feel like my vision of what I was trying to achieve was not going to be achieved here. And I also feel like, for better or worse, LA is in a bit of a decline. I think that restaurants are kind of, a lot of them are closing. The scene that used to be there isn't really happening. People aren't spending money like they used to. My tickets are $5,000.
Wow, for one night?
Yeah, my memberships go from 50 to over 200,000.
Holy crap!
And I feel like that community that can afford what I want, what I do, because I like to do really big productions, a lot of theatrics, costuming, hair and makeup, a lot of performers. I bring in set decorators, I transform the space, and it's expensive, so I need to charge those prices. I'm not sure that the market is there for me anymore in LA. I think what I was experiencing was guys constantly trying to like get in, under the price. Can I give you some can I? And it was not something I was used to. And most of my friends and most of the people that were, like the guys that really have money have moved to Miami or New York. And I think there's been kind of an exodus from Los Angeles. The nightclubs aren't really doing what they used to do. Bottle service isn't doing what it used to do. So in a way, for me, I feel like I need to be where where my clients are, and they're there now. So and also I've lived in LA for a long time, and I want to, I've never lived in Miami. I've been there. I really like it. I'm curious what it's going to be like. So I'm going to get a place for a year. We have a dock. We're going to have a yacht. I have a Rolls Royce in the driveway. Like the whole thing. It's going to be wild. And experience that. And then I love New York City. I love the energy there. And so I'll be able to do, I'm going to be doing events in Miami and New York. So yeah, the LA experiment went really well as far as I'm concerned. Like I delivered what I wanted to, and I really did make a party, even though it's a sex party, really about connecting with people, about having the kind of sex that I think is good, which is more connective, not just like performative or, just the motion of sex and just what like sex can be either something that I feel is a spiritual experience, literally, or it can just be a physical experience. And I'm trying to tap into the more spiritual aspects of it. For whatever reason, I don't think the LA audience was really there for it, other than all of the girls in the porn community. It was like, and I got to know them really well, and I got to understand their sexuality, the kind of sex they were having on set, how disconnected it was. And a lot of them don't even have sex for their own pleasure. They don't even have relationships. They just on camera. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's pretty, it's pretty empty. And so because of my ethos and what I was trying to accomplish, that energy did kind of happen there, and they really loved it. So, it helped me to sort of start something I didn't think I was going to start, which is a content house, and starting to film explicit content that is very connective, that where I'm asking the girls, like, what do you actually like? I interview them, talk to them about their sexuality, what they're genuinely into. Generally, they'll show up on set and it's like, okay, this is a stepfather, stepdaughter scene, and these are the positions, and then you're gonna get cum all over your face. And it's like, whatever people watching may think, most of these girls aren't really into that. They're not even actually orgasming. It's not. But sometimes, and that's not everyone. There are girls that absolutely love what they do, but a lot of times it's the girls that have really established careers, and they can dictate things more so. They can talk about what they want. They can say no to things. The younger girls coming in, I mean, they just get like train rolled through. I mean, there's no one there to look after them or really care about them.
Right.
At least that's what I'm experiencing and hearing, and I could be wrong. I don't know everything, but that's been my experience with these girls, and I got to know them as friends, and they told me their truth. So, I definitely think that I can. I definitely think that I can make content that is more along the lines of what they want, their real sexuality and what they're really into, and so I'm starting to get into that. I mean, the events and the relationships I formed there kind of led me into this thing now where I'm doing content and I'm creating things, that I didn't think I was going to, because I do parties, I do events, I love doing that. But now, so there was like a loss because I know that I wanted to achieve something in LA that I wasn't able to, but I feel like I did it the way I wanted to, and I'm proud of that. And I'm hoping that the East Coast will be more into this. We'll be into this idea, the idea of this, and what this is about. So we'll see.
I think you'll do well in Miami. A lot of crypto
you.
money there, and crypto's doing well. So
yeah, and really, although it's hard for people to talk about it or admit it or whatever, sometimes, we all want love. We all want to be connected to somebody. I think the ultimate experience with anybody is a feeling that, like, you're desired, you're wanted, you're loved, you're feeling a connection. A lot of men pay for sex, and that's not the kind of sex that I like, because it's just not very satisfying. It's not. It's pretty empty. I like really deeply connective sex, and so because I'm back in this business again, and I've been doing this for a long time, I'm hoping that I can guide people to that place, because it's just better. It's just better sex. It's like, and it's a better feeling after, and and you can form friendships that are real. You know, I say, like, if you're gonna be with someone for a night or for 10 years, it doesn't matter. You know, you can have love and connection at a sex party. It's very possible. But I need the clientele that desires that.
Right.
And, you know, truly a lot of men, mainly, I mean, some women too, but a lot of men, they just want you know, that's
for sure.
That's what they're coming there for. It's just, they just want but I've taken out any kind of exchange of money. I've taken out the kind of aspects that would allow that to just happen in that way. So you actually have to connect with someone. So when you're meeting a girl at one of my parties, you know, you have to sit down and talk to them and relate to them and you know, look in their eyes and have some chemistry and some connection. And I think that some of these really wealthy dudes are so used to paying for it or you know, in so many ways, whether it's like a sugar daddy baby thing, a relationship, it's based on commerce. And I think that it's like, you know, it's like eating at McDonald's or something. Like, it tastes good, but then you got a stomachache after, and it's not even good for your body.
Yeah.
I feel like empty sex and non-connective sex is very similar to that. So
100%. A lot of people have sex and they feel like shit after.
Yeah.
Spiritually, right?
Yeah, I think so. And you know, I know this message will resonate and will catch on. I think that it's a strange business that I'm in. You know, I don't think of what I do as sex parties. I think of what I do as a place for people to connect and see art and experience theater and all of this great stuff that we do. And out of that, when you make connections, you know, like if you go out to dinner with someone, right, and you take them out to dinner and you're connecting with someone and you're turned on to them and she's turned on, then you know, you might want to go back to your house and make love and have sex. Like, that's totally acceptable and normal. When you're doing it in a sex party type of an environment, it's the same exact thing, but like you're having sex there. And there's something about that makes what I do seem like people have to hide from it. They can't talk about it. It's a secret for them. In a perfect world, I would make it where like people could come to my party and feel proud about it and say, I went to Alysium. It's an amazing place. I love the experience. All of these great people whose names I can't mention, who tell me that personally, can't say it out loud. There may never be a time, at least not in my lifetime, when sexuality is something that people can just talk about.
Right.
You know, when different kinds of sexuality and all this, when people can be accepting of that. But I'm trying to make that happen. You know, that's part of my like little mission here. Is to do that.
I can definitely see that. There's a lot of shame and guilt with talking about sex openly, right, publicly. If that wasn't the case, your club would be popping because everyone would just be word of mouth marketing for you.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I've always had to operate as a bit of like a secretive society type vibe, right? Because it's got to be secretive. I've got to protect my members. I can't talk about it publicly. You know, yeah. And
you got some of the biggest clientele, so.
I do. I have amazing people, you know, and I've forged friendships with them, and they genuinely love what this is, you know, and it's amazing that they come. I love having them. You know, it makes for great parties when you're looking around and you see these people that you recognize or that you look up to and things like that.
I'd pay $5K to be in that room. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you could come. Are you ever in Miami or?
Yeah, but I got a fiance, so.
Oh, well, you know, couples come all the time.
Oh, yeah?
And there's another thing, too, is that most people are not, it's not like you're stepping into an orgy. I think the public perception and the reason people are sort of afraid of what it is they think, oh, I'm going to walk in, it's just going to be a bunch of people in a room, and it's not like that at all. At my club, you're not even allowed to have sex until after midnight. There's shifting lights, and the lights start like an amber color, and then they get a little deeper to orange, and then they turn red. When the lights turn red, that's when you're allowed to have sex.
Everyone's just...
Yeah. But before that, you're talking to people. It's like a cocktail party. You know, you're meeting amazing people. You're meeting the kinds of people you'd want to meet, having real conversations. You know, everything's curated. The ladies' guests, everyone's really beautiful. It's a great environment. And then you're watching shows and you know, we do all kinds of things that are really, really fun and experience. And we have art everywhere, like, you know, amazing erotic art that's multi-million-dollar art. So it's like a cocktail party, you know, for the kinds of people you'd want to be at a party with. And then when the lights turn red, that lets people know that if they want to start to engage and make love and fuck whatever, that they can. And you know, and at that point, you and your fiance could you know, watch or walk around or hang out or leave. You know, like there's an opening to this thing where you get to experience what it is, and then when the sexuality starts, you might find that you're so comfortable in that environment, and your fiance is too, that you guys are like, wow, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. This is super cool. That's what everyone says.
That makes sense.
It's like the same thing. Like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But if you guys are like maybe uncomfortable around sexuality, or the idea of seeing other people have sex would make you uncomfortable, or being in an environment where that was so kind of open, then I can understand someone being uncomfortable with it. It's become so second nature to me. You know, it's like,
you're used to it.
I don't even notice it. And when it's a really cool party, it can be some of the most amazing things you've ever seen in your life. I mean, to see people in groups making love and having sex, you know, all of it. It's funny, I don't know whether to say making love or having sex, because they are different. Right. You know, like, to me, having sex is like the physical act of sex. Making love is like actually being connected to your partner, so that when you're together, there's love, you know, and you're sharing in that, probably what you have with your fiance. Yeah. When you bring that to a party, I don't know. You guys might want to just check it out, and if you do, I mean, if you want to, you let me know, and
I will text you.
I'm not going to charge you the $5,000.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love showing people what I do. I really do, because generally the reaction is just like, wow, I had no idea that is what it was going to be like. And I think the more people that experience it, that can talk about it, like you could talk about it. Yeah. Right. Because I'm inviting you on the show. You would be going for research. You're not there. You know, you don't have to be embarrassed about it. Like, a lot of my clientele, if they go to a sex party, it might affect their careers, their job. Maybe they're running a company, you know, but for someone like you could actually go talk about it. And so you could help me get the word out. And I know that whatever preconceptions you have about it, that I would change those.
Yeah, I'd be open. There's growth in uncomfortable situations. So for me, putting myself in a situation like that, I'm willing to try it. Yeah. You know?
And you can, and I'm not going to say what you do there. So whatever happens
happens.
It would be on you to speak about it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool, man. Yeah. On your website, very interesting site, by the way. It said you were raised by wolves, spiritual teachers, and drug experimenters.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Oh, that's the Father Damon website.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at that in a little while.
Yeah. So what's going on with that?
Well, I was not literally raised by wolves, but I was raised by. I was raised in the 70s. You know, I was born in 1970. I'm 53 years old. It was a different time. You know, my parents were hippies. Everyone around was doing drugs. There was a lot of musicians. You know, it was a time when anything went. You know, like when I would fly to New York, and as a 6-year-old kid, because I have a lot of family over there, they would put me and my sister, hand me and my sister over to the stewardess. And one time they were like, there was no seats left in non-smoking. Wow. Okay, so imagine 2 little kids sitting on a plane and people are smoking next to us. Jeez. I mean, it was a different world. You know, it was people just were free. They just did what they wanted to do. And so some of that was absolutely beautiful, because if you think about the art and the music that came out of the 60s and the 70s, I mean, it was just like, it was some of the best music that will ever be made.
Agreed. I listen to 70s music still.
Okay, cool. And so that culture, born me, and I learned so much in it. But it was also, as a child, a scary place. It wasn't a place of safety. It wasn't a place of like, I mean, I don't know how you were raised, but I have kids now. I have 2 kids, and like I would never expose them to any of that. I would never do drugs or even drink in front of them. My parents did. It was second nature to them and everyone around them. So yeah, I mean, it was raised by wolves. What else did I say? I wrote that a long
Raised
time
by wolves, spiritual teachers, and drug experimenters.
Yeah, right. So that pretty much covers it all. The spirituality was very strong, in my family, but not religion, but spirituality. And I think a lot of people were searching at that time. Also spirituality was a lot of, LSD and mushrooms and finding your way there through those channels. So, it was an intense childhood, but I think that, I wouldn't want it any other way. I learned so much, and it brought me to this place now where I am a very free thinking, very creative person. I would never be doing this if I listened to what society told me was
Absolutely.
okay. And I love what I do, and I love what I give to my guests and to the people that come. So yeah, it all worked out pretty good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And also mentioned on your site you were finding the meaning of life. It sounds like you've really found your purpose, though.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that a long time ago, and my life has been a really like a constant evolution, and I'm constantly learning more, and I may say something on a podcast, or to someone 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and feel differently now, and I may say something now, and I might change my mind, and I allow myself to do that. Right now, I just spent 6 months, 7 months up at this house, this estate in the Hollywood Hills, and I dove into a community that I'd never been a part of. And and how I was having a lot of sex and a lot like threesomes and foursomes and just a lot of stuff that was new for me on that level, where these girls in the community are so free and open with their sexuality, and they love sex.
Was that the community?
Yes.
Okay.
And in particular, they were really into the kind of sex that I'm into, which is that, like I was saying, on set and all of that, they're just bodies getting. They're
Right.
not, and then in their personal lives, a lot of times men just assume that that's what they want or that's what they are. But when you show them love and you connect in deeply with them and make love with them and their brains out, of course, you do both.
Yeah.
But that energy, I found that they were very not only open and receptive to, but it was like they would invite their friends over too.
Wow.
Like I would be in a bed with 3 of them, and we
Damn.
would just I mean, for real. And it was beautiful. And I thought, and I really had a lot of that experience. But sitting here now at this moment, I just like I'm glad I had the last 5 or 6 months of my life, but that is not actually what I'm seeking. And it reminded me that I like to have like my person, and I like to have a deep connection. And I was in a 20-year monogamous relationship before I started Sanctum.
Dang.
Yeah. And I have 2 kids with my ex-wife, and she's just an absolute, I mean, she's an incredible, incredible person. And then I started my club, and then about 2 years before I sold my club, I got into another relationship that was 6 years.
Whoa.
And I've only been single like maybe, 9 months or so. So I'm back in this stage of like wild experimentation and learning new things. I mean, these girls have taught me a lot, quite honestly. I thought I knew everything and I was already there. But I was learning things from these girls because they are like, their sexuality is advanced,
How so? Like, what does that look like?
I mean, part of it is just like, this is not about spirituality at all, but part of it is just like technique. I mean, like these girls know how to suck in a way that civilians don't, and they know how to like, just like, I mean, my bed would be soaked with so much squirting. I mean, I the last time I had sex, I was like, I'm telling you, like, because I just changed the sheets, I mean, we just ruined the sheets the night before. And so, and this has been happening with me. I'm like, like don't squirt, like just don't do it. I don't, and it's kind of fun, but then it happened. So they're different. They're like, in all of the years that I've had sex before this last 7-8 months, I'd maybe experienced that like one time.
Squirting?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And I mean, these girls are just like, they're like explode. It's crazy, and I don't know if it's like, if they're doing that because that's part of their act now, but in talking to them and I'm not getting the feeling that it is. I'm getting the feeling that like they're learning these things. They're learning how to squirt. And once they find that intensifies their orgasm, or it can. And so they want to really let go and release into that feeling.
Right.
And it just all over the place. Whereas most women probably haven't learned that experience,
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and also it's not, I mean, I've had threesomes and stuff, but to have 3 girls all kind of me connected in with them and them all connecting with me and them connected in with each other. You know, a lot of these girls are obviously bisexual for real, you know, not like a civilian bisexual, but like really, like they really love to have sex with each other. And so I get to be with them in this mix. So the sex was incredible. You know, it was really fun to be doing that. And I told myself when I went into this, I was like, I want to be able to love these girls. I want to be able to say, I love you. And I want them to be free to say that to me.
Whoa.
And I would go into it like that. And I would say, listen, like, if I'm really feeling something for you, and I say, I love you in a moment, because, you know, when someone is sucking your for 30 minutes straight and taking you to another planet, like, you can't help but to love that person. They are giving you so much pleasure, and they're getting pleasure out of giving that to you. I mean, I literally, after I have sex, I generally say thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for that experience. And when I hear that back, then I know that was good sex, you know?
Yeah.
But I just changed the language a bit for them and the experience a bit for them and myself, because that's the kind of sex I like. And the combination was it was amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty
How are you
stellar.
lasting that long?
Like from a blowjob?
Yeah.
I can't really come from blowjobs.
What?
It's really hard. Yeah, I know people say that, but I'm a little weird. Like I don't, it's not that I don't ever want to come in someone's mouth or come on someone, whatever, but like, I like so much.
Yeah.
Like I want to be inside somebody, and I get off when they get off. Like I get off on seeing them get off. You know, when you really take someone on a good ride, and their eyes start to roll back into their head, and you can see that they're going into this space where you're the one taking them there. That gets me off. A blowjob is pleasure, and I love pleasure, but what makes me, you know, want to get to a place of orgasm is going on that journey with someone. You know, I like to. This is gonna whatever. I don't care. I'm just gonna always speak my truth. But I like, you know, I like having sex until I feel like someone can't really come anymore. Like they're at that point where if you keep going, it's like you can feel when it doesn't. You know, they're done. They're exhausted, and then I will try to come with them for that last time.
Damn.
You know, I also, not that I want to say that drug use or of any kind is good, and it might not be, but for me, like I like to get really high when I have sex. I love sex and weed. I have a brand called Sex Weed. I love sex and weed. It takes the ego out of it for me. It takes any performance anxiety out of it for me, and I really have like, you know, I just total control, you know, TDC, that's what I call it. You know, I just like so weed helps me with that.
Same. There's no doubt weed helps with sex.
And also being really comfortable with someone. I generally don't just like, even though I throw sex parties, I don't generally meet someone at a sex party and just like pull them somewhere and them. Like I want to get to know you. I want to understand you. I want to know a bit about you. I want to tell you a bit about me so that we form a bit of a connection, because, you know, it makes sex better. And then, yeah, I mean, there's ways to have, if you're jumping into sex and it's just like this really perfect body and this beautiful girl, and you're just like trying to perform and you want to make her come, and all you're thinking about is your own self and your own ego. Because really, most of the time when you're thinking like, I want to make her come, you're thinking, I want to make her come because I want to be the man. You're not thinking like, I just want to be with this person. I just want to look at, I want to feel them. I want to have a hand on their heart so I can feel their heartbeat. I want to listen to their breath. I want to have sex with them, and I want to bring them somewhere, and I want to go to this place with them. So I'm really more focused on her than I am on myself, and it takes all of the pressure off me. You know, I don't know. I kind of figured it out.
That's awesome.
I kind of figured it out, and it's not like I can't come from a blowjob, but I just don't want to, because I want to make love.
You got good control.
Yeah.
Do you let people explore their fetishes at your parties?
Yeah, everyone can explore whatever they want. It's a place where there's no judgment, which is nice for people, where anyone can, you know, as long as it's consensual, people can do whatever they want. You know, people can enjoy sexuality in any way that they like to. I don't attract like much of a fetish community to my clubs because I'm not necessarily that into fetish. You know, I've explored BDSM. I know shibari. I've learned the art of it. And
Shibari, what's that?
It's like, you know, doing the rope when you tie.
The rope.
Put a dress on someone, you can suspend them from something. Yeah.
I've seen
it's
that.
Like a Japanese
50 Shades of Grey, right?
Art. Yeah, kind of that vibe. I wanted to learn everything I could, and so if there is someone that genuinely, wants to be restrained or wants to feel out of control or wants to feel a little bit scared or wants to be choked or wants some of these types of things, I know how to do it, and if I know they genuinely want it, then I want to give that to them. I want them to have the best experience they can with me. Because I want them to come back and invite their friends too. That's the reality of sexuality for me in my world is that, if I'm not a good lover, then everyone knows. We all talk. Everyone talks. So like there's that part too where I'm always trying to get out of ego and just trying to get into love, but I'm still a human being and I still have an ego, and so. I do want to really take care of whoever I'm with sexually. It's important to me.
Yeah. You mentioned Sex Weed earlier. What's that about? Is that a weed company?
Yeah. It's a weed brand that I launched recently. It's called Sex Weed, and sexweed.com, and it's just sex and weed have been a thing for me for many years. The girl that I was with for 6 years introduced me to weed and sex. Before then, I wasn't really into weed. I didn't really understand why people wanted to get stoned. I actually didn't get. Do you get stoned?
Rarely these days.
I usually get stoned before these interviews.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it help?
It puts me in a bit of a philosophical state of mind.
Okay.
I love weed. I love weed now. But before, when I'd smoke weed, before I kind of built up a tolerance to it, I think I would just feel tired and kind of lethargic and not. But now especially the weed that I grow, and the weed that I put in my stuff, it's just very expansive, and it really, I love it. I love having conversations on it. I love having sex on it.
So when we do a part 2, I'll smoke with you before. We'll see how it turns out.
I have some in the car.
Oh, you do?
Are you allowed to smoke here?
Yeah, probably not inside, but outside.
Okay, cool.
I don't think anyone will care.
Yeah.
That's funny though. We'll link it below. That's cool.
Cool.
Anything else you're up to before we close off?
Well, a lot, but I guess we're coming to a close.
Yeah.
So, I guess if I'm going to say anything, it's that, I want people to learn that sex can be something really beautiful and it can be a spiritual experience, and that society telling you that it's bad or that it's dirty or that it's wrong, like, they don't know what they're talking about, or maybe they're having that kind of sex and that's on them. But we can have incredible sex, and sex is beautiful, and it can even be beautiful in a group situation. It can even be beautiful, whatever it is for people. If you find a way to do it with some love and you connect in with these people, your partners or people you just met, then you can have great sex. And that's the message I want to spread it. And I guess the last thing before we go is that, if you're out there and you're a 20-year-old guy and you're watching and you're seeing these girls and these scenes and you're thinking that's what girls want, it's not. Like, I promise you it's not. I know. If anyone knows, I do. It's not what they want. They want connection and they want love, or they're just for money. So connect in with them. Make love with them. It doesn't mean you need to be like totally, it's a roller coaster ride. Their brains out, whatever, if they like that stuff, and then slow it back down, bring it into intimacy, give them kisses, love them, look in their eyes, let them know that they're more than a body or whatever. And that will bring a new kind of sexuality. And when you go out into the world and you meet some new girl, like, connect in, don't her unless she's someone that you want to talk to the next day. It's stupid. It's stupid for everybody. Just find ways to connect with each other, and sex can be so good. And I your listeners, I'm sure a lot of them are in their 20s, and they're getting the wrong idea from, and I've been with a lot of them now, and I'm speaking the truth. These girls love connection. They love to feel loved, and they love sex, especially when it comes with you actually giving a about them. you know, and that goes across the board for any woman and anyone could meet. So if I only have this much time, then I'll just...
No, that helps. We'll definitely do a part 2. We'll link your club below. If anyone's in Miami, they can check it out, right?
Cool. Yeah, that ElysiumVIP.com.
Awesome. If you're in Miami, guys, check it out for sure. Thanks for coming on, man. That was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, cool.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.